Hey everyone, this Brick City Brown Chick coming at you with my long form episode this week. It is the week of Thanksgiving as I record this, and I wanted to take some time today to talk about how everybody's feeling this year and to reminisce on Thanksgivings from my past and how Thanksgiving has changed over the years. So, first off, I wanted to talk about how people are feeling this year, and I'll talk about how I'm feeling. I am really not in the mindset for Thanksgiving this year. I am sad about the outcome of the election. I started out really pissed off, and then I was just in heartbreak and disbelief. And now I'm just sad about it and really don't feel like celebrating at all. My mood is not helped by the fact that I have to spend 10 hours in the car, 5 hours going and 5 hours coming back to drive to a red state that I really don't particularly like to visit my mother and my mother's family, who all live there, and celebrate Thanksgiving. Now, a logical person would say, well, if you're not in the mood and you don't want to go, don't go. That's really not how things work in Black Southern families. If you're from one, you understand. If you're not from one, I'm just going to say that it doesn't work like that. Your family doesn't really care about how you feel. It's Thanksgiving, and we all get together for Thanksgiving. So, my husband and I will be taking this 5-hour drive in a couple of days, spend 4 days at my mom's house, which is honestly like the top of my threshold for coping because she keeps the house at like 80 degrees and her TV is always really loud because she's hard of hearing, but she won't get a hearing aid. And she leaves food out on the counter that ought to be in the refrigerator. All those things our older parents do that drive us crazy, but we can't speak on because it's not our house. It's theirs. We are just passing through. So it's the packing, it's the cooking because we made a couple of dishes. It's all of that. And then I have to get in the car and go. So that never puts me in a good frame of mind. But this year, I am particularly just really not feeling it. Now, what will happen in all likelihood, because this is what frequently happens, is I will get there, we'll get through Wednesday and all the last minute things we need to do, and by Thursday morning, when it's time for me to get up, put on some makeup, put on the fancy outfit I bought, get it together so we can go to Thanksgiving dinner, I will be in a different mindset, or at least I hope I will. In years past, I have really been able to shut off particular feelings I have and get into the spirit of the holiday, but I honestly don't know this year that I'm going to be able to pull that off. In addition to the election and the upcoming administration and all the things around that, there is also my personal experiences and feelings about holidays, about this particular set of holidays. Thanksgiving has always been a huge deal in my family. My parents were, the Thanksgiving planner extraordinaire. They hosted tons of Thanksgiving dinners. They always had this huge spread. My dad was not a chauvinist or an alpha male or any of that nonsense. He cooked as much as my mother cooked. So it was always a team effort on their part to make Thanksgiving as big and as grand and as much a family event as they possibly could. My dad died when I was 17. So it has been a very, very long time since Thanksgiving has had that feel and that spirit. My mother and I have hosted several Thanksgivings in the years since he passed, but of course, they've never been the same. And after Thanksgiving is over, there comes a series of events that just sort of pull me down emotionally into a pretty dark, I guess I'd say, hard place to be. Has it gotten a little easier over the years? Sure. But my father's birthday is in December. And then there is Christmas. My father was the big Christmas person in our family. Like there were years my mother and I were just both like, we could just not do this year. But my father was always raring and ready to go. So there's Christmas. My parents' wedding anniversary is the day after Christmas. And the year my father died, he went into the hospital for the final time right after Christmas, and he never came out. He was in the hospital until the middle of February when he died. So this time of year for me is kind of rough anyway, and the kickoff is Thanksgiving. So this year I feel more sort of sad and down than I usually do. But, there's an expression, you got to put on your big girl panties and deal with it. Yeah, I got to put on my big girl panties and deal with it this week and see how it goes. So I'll let everybody know next week how Thanksgiving went and what the adventures were. We, for the first time, are going to my second cousin's godson's house. Yeah, that's super complicated. The easy explanation is my cousin E and my mother B they are first cousins. My cousin E is somehow related to her godson, like his parents were friends of her parents, and they were also friends of my grandparents. So she has known him all his life. He's probably my age, he's probably in his 50s. E is in her 70s. And so there is some family relationship there that my mother and her cousin get that I don't really understand. I've met him probably 3 or 4 times, but I don't know him. So this is going to be interesting from that standpoint of we're going to be spending Thanksgiving with part of our family, but also his family who I'm not really familiar with. And that's going to be a little weird, I have to say. But my husband and I agreed that this would be much better than the couple of times in recent years we have gone to restaurants for Thanksgiving, and those were complete and total clusterfucks. They just were. And the food was cold or the food was bad. The servers were annoyed because they didn't want to be there, which I totally get because it was Thanksgiving and they would have rather spent Thanksgiving with their family. One of the restaurants we went to, I ordered a glass of Moscato and it took them 45 minutes. to find the Moscato. And all I could think was, are you in the back stomping the grapes? Like, literally, what is going on back there? So my husband said, yeah. He said he's never going out to dinner for Thanksgiving again because he's afraid the third time he'll get food poisoning. And yeah, that's probably a valid concern. So we're going to do something new, but at least we're not going to a restaurant. So that's how I'm feeling about Thanksgiving this year. I'm wondering how other people are feeling. I have heard several stories in recent days from the FAFO community. And FAFO, if you don't know what that means, stands for fuck around and find out. So the FAFO community have been talking very passionately about children, or in some cases parents, but mostly children, adult children, who have decided that they are not going to celebrate Thanksgiving with their relatives, be they parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles and aunts, whoever, if they know they voted for the president-elect. So I've seen some very personal and passionate videos by gay people, for example, whose parents are supporters of the incoming administration, and they're like, you voted to take my rights away. I will be damned if I am sitting down to break bread with you and acting like everything's cool. I will not do it. And so there have been gay people, trans people. There have been some black people whose parents support the incoming administration who are like, no, this is the line in the sand, and you crossed the line, and therefore I am not doing this with you. Now, there are a lot of people on the other side, the affected parents, cousins, grandparents, who are very upset with their children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, and they're saying, look, you're going to break up our relationship over politics. You're being immature, stupid, and ridiculous. And to those people, I will say what I have heard your children and your family members say. This is not about politics. This is about people's rights and their ability to live. This incoming administration has made it clear that they want to deport as many people as possible, even people who are American citizens. They want to deport naturalized citizens. They want to take away the rights of trans people. They want the Supreme Court to revisit the decision they made when Obama was president about gay marriage being legal. I remind Black people on a regular basis that the Voting Rights Act is not in the Constitution. It is simply an act. It is an act that needs to be renewed every 25 years. And that time period is coming to a close soon. So if this now incoming Republican Congress decides not to reinstate the Voting Rights Act, Black people will no longer be able to vote, especially in the red states where they don't want us to vote anyway. So I understand people's disconnect with their family members who voted for the insanity that is about to be wrought on the United States. The person I heard sum it up best is a creator named Tennessee Brando. And if you get a chance to check out his page, please do. And he wrote a song called Cheaper Eggs. And basically, the point of the song is you opted to destroy America and let a crazy person burn it to the ground because you wanted cheaper eggs. Hope you enjoy your cheaper eggs as the world burns. That's the gist of the song, and is absolutely true. So, people who are making this difficult choice for Thanksgiving to disconnect from their family because their family members voted that their ability to have cheaper eggs and a better economy is more important than the rights of their children, their neighbors, and their friends. Understand that I deeply, deeply empathize with you and how hard that choice is. And I also understand why it is a choice you are choosing to make. I worked with a woman a long time ago who had a philosophy about family that I have picked up over the years. And what she always said was, when you're a child, your family is about your family of origin. But one of the great things about becoming an adult is your family is the family you make, is the family you choose. And I totally understand that. I understand why Friendsgiving has become such a popular thing and why it's a hashtag every year that people as adults choose to make their community, choose to make their family. And if they come from a family that is dysfunctional, or in this case, that is ideologically not in line with their morals and their values and their beliefs, then they make their own family, their own support network. We all learned firsthand during the pandemic how important it is to have a support network, a group of people who love you as you are and will support you through your good times and your bad times. And whether we all want to admit it or not, that is not always our family of origin. Those are not always the people who will stand by us and behind us and always check in to make sure that we're good, to make sure that we're getting through the things we are going through. It's not always our family of origin. And that is not a diss. That is not a you people didn't support me, therefore blah, blah, blah. That's not what that is. That's called being an adult and holding people accountable and deciding that the people in your life have to be people who are worthy of your effort and your time and your love, frankly. And I have heard people make the argument from the time I was in my 20s. Now I am Gen X. I've heard people say for a long time that young people don't understand family. So I've heard that. I know millennials have heard that. I know Gen Z people have heard it. And now we're coming on to Gen Alpha, and they're going to hear it too. Every previous generation feels like the next generation or two or three don't get it and don't understand what family is about. We all understand what family is about. We understand what family is as opposed to what we tell people family is. We tell people family is a big, loving group of people who get along and support each other and are there for each other. That's what we want family to be. That's what everybody wants family to be. That is not always what family is. And when family does not meet those thresholds, when family falls short of what you need family to be, then it's on you as a grown person to make your own family, to find your own support network, to find people in the world who appreciate you for you and not who they want you to be. I've told this particular story, I think, in season 1 of this podcast, but I'll give the short version. My mother is a well meaning, well intentioned person, but what I have figured out over the course of my life is she wanted to live her life over through me. What does that mean? It means she wanted me to do all the things that she never got to do because my grandparents were poor. Now, that's all well and good that you want your children to have the things that you never had. The disconnect she and I have had over the course of my life is she wanted me to do things that she wanted me to do regardless of the fact that I didn't want to do them. My mother has always had a hard time accepting me as I am and not as the person she wanted me to be. Is that a difficult thing to accept as a child? Sure. It's a really hard thing to accept. But I am now a grown woman in my 50s, and I love me, I accept me, I understand me. And I have come to the point, and I have said this to her, that I have been a good daughter to her. Whether she sees it that way or not, I have no control over it. What I know is that I've been a good daughter to her, and that when she passes on from this world, I will not spend any moment in time suffering and beating my chest and being upset about the fact that she could never accept who I am. And that's something that comes with age. It comes with maturity. It comes with understanding that the only person you have any control over is you. And so you better get a real good handle on you and your feelings. And so that when you need to make that separation, you can make that separation and be good with you. And so what I want to let everybody know this week as we all travel and prepare to sit down with our family and our friends to celebrate Thanksgiving is to remember what we're all thankful for. Remember the things in our life that are good, that are positive, that make us smile, and that bring us joy. And surround yourself with people who care about you as you are. People who care about you as you fully show up in the world. And keep your contact with people who do not do that to a minimum. for your sanity, for your mental health, for your emotional health, and for all of yourself. I want to thank everybody for joining me this week. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already done that. That should be down here in the description. And I look forward to talking to everyone again soon. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.